Welcome to Something to Talk About.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. You heard the little lady, and surprise, I got a tournament tomorrow. If you don't know who I am, my name is Taco. I have a Song of Ice and Fire channel, and I cover a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire lore. And normally I do one giant tournament every year, but this year I'm doing these little itty bitty tournaments in between. And this is the third one. I did a jousting tournament, a dragon tournament, and now the Commanders tournament. So I'm not going to have you guys long. I'm just going to do the rules and then go over to the bracket. And it shouldn't take that long. But first I wanted to say the inspirato for this. The numerous requests I had over the last 3 years that do it. That was one of the inspirations. But while I was doing the other tournaments where it was just person versus person, by the way, I hope you like my sun shining on me. Filming during the day. I'm filming this the day it comes out, actually. Very busy. I'm a very busy day. I'm just going to do a lot of filming. But this is a time I normally don't film because the sun's coming in. You don't need to hear any of that. You do too many tangents. I got so many comments on all my other normal tournaments where people are just fighting each other of like, oh, this guy isn't really much of a fighter. He's more of a commander. He's a much better commander, but he's going to lose right away. And man, I heard that a lot. So I was like, cool, let's just do commanders. So here we are. If you want to know the rules, here they are. Welcome to my new tournament. This is a tourney to decide the best of the 16 commanders. Who is the best of the 16 commanders is by, this is a tournament to decide who is the best of the 16 commanders is, wow, what am I adding? Oh, I'm adding in, this is a tourney to decide who the best of the 16 commanders is by pitting them against each other in a hypothetical battle. Wow, I finally made it through that sentence. For each battle, let's put them in a hypothetical war with equal numbers on a neutral battleground that favors no army. Looking through the lore, I found the perfect battle that could have gone either way. And that is the Battle of the Trident. Well, mostly. Yeah, you know, there's factors, of course. But when you're looking at other really big deciding factors or big deciding battles, there's been some type of an advantage, whether it was like how Robb Stark kind of like sneak attacks people and does like tricky tactics, like luring somebody into a big battle when they don't know there's a big battle there and sneaking up on people when they're sleeping. You know, that's how Robb Stark wins a lot. And, you know, all's fair in love and war, right? But that doesn't show who the better, like, just straight up commander is. And that's what we're going to try to do. So I looked at all the different battles and, like, Battle of the Red Grass Field, somebody snuck up on a ridge and shot a bunch of arrows down. That ridge makes it not fair, right? You know, so I was like, what battle was just a crap ton of people against a crap ton of people? And it was really could have gone either way. And as far as I could figure out, the Battle of the Trident. And I took the numbers from that. Yes, the Royal Army had more at 40,000, and the Rebel Army had a little less. We don't know how much. Maybe you do. I don't know. I'm not looking at it right now. But of course, the Royal Army, the Loyalists, they were less battle hardened. A lot of them are just joining the fight, so there's some factors there. But essentially, I'm grabbing 40,000 people, each side, on the Trident against each other. And hopefully no one's going to argue the Trident's an unfair area. I don't think it is. So each commander will have 40,000 men consisting of knights, archers, freeriders, and foot soldiers. I had to specifically say that because I do have Mance Rayder in here. And yes, his wildling army had a lot of women and children. It was more of just a gathering of wildlings. That's not his army here. He will have knights somehow. Maybe not knights, but the wildling equivalent, right? So he's going to have an equal power army as everybody else, right? So consisting of knights, archers, freeriders, and foot soldiers. And they will meet on the Ruby Ford. The idea is to make it as fair as possible. No dirty tricks and no numbers advantages. The only changing variable is that the army is filled with an appropriate style of combatant. As in the northern commanders, like the Starks, will have Northmen. The Reach, like Randyl Tarly, will have Reachmen, and so on, with the which commander will win. So hopefully that's not too confusing. I still want there to be some creativity of knowing who is in the army. And that's kind of the only real variable. Besides that, equal numbers on as equal of a battlefield I could find. No dragons. No dragons. And people, I tell you right now, as soon as I got Aegon Targaryen in here, somebody's gonna say, "Oh, well, it was a dragon, so he wins." No dragons. That's it. Okay, so let's look at the bracket. I know that there are people on here that have gone against each other. So the best I could do is put them on opposite sides of the bracket. And you're already seeing right away Tywin Lannister, Robb Stark, they fought against each other a lot in the War of the Five Kings. They are on opposite ends of the bracket, right? So if they end up being in the finals, I did the best I could, but I didn't want to leave people off just because they fought against each other before. And another one would be like Robert Baratheon and Randyl Tarly. Again, I tried to just separate them, but if they end up being the finals, there's nothing I could do about it, right? What, you want me to leave Randyl Tarly off? Then everyone would be complaining and left Randyl Tarly off. These brackets aren't as easy as they look, guys. I actually put a lot of thought, and I always still kind of come up short. I just think it's a thankless job putting brackets together. All right, so starting off, Tywin Lannister will go against Randyl Tarly. That's going to be pretty good. And then Aegor Rivers against Criston Cole. That's kind of like my my Rebels / D-Base fight. I know there's Aegor River fans out there, including Aegor Rivers. But yeah. Daeron the First versus Mance Rayder. Mr. Rayder. Daeron the Young Dragon versus Mance, and then Daemon Blackfyre versus Aegon Targaryen. Aegon does not have a dragon. I get the feeling I'll be saying that a lot. But yeah, I do like the idea of Daemon versus Aegon, of the first Blackfyre versus the first, not the first ever Targaryen, but you know what I mean, the first king. And then we got on the other side, Robb Stark and Stannis Baratheon. I like that because both of them were in the War of the Five Kings, but they didn't fight directly against each other. And then we got Cregan Stark versus Roose Bolton, which is a really cool match because the Boltons versus the Starks. Also, I wanted to throw Cregan in there. I know there's going to be Riverland lads fans out there like, hey, where are the lads? I thought, do I just have all three at once? Because you can't just do like a random Tully and you can't just do Bloody Ben Blackwood. It would have to be the lads. And then I feel like people would have complained like, wait, they all get to do it together? That's an advantage. So I left the lads out. But for a Team Black Dance of Dragons commander, we got Cregan Stark. I don't think anyone's going to complain. Versus Roose Bolton. Also, there's a possibility of Robb Stark, if he beats Stannis, which is a big if, against Roose, which would be really great because it's like they were in the same army, right? Until the Red Wedding. And then Gerold Hightower. And if people are like, wait, Gerold Hightower is a commander? He just fought at the Tower of Joy. No, he was actually in control of the entire army of Westeros against the Nine Penny Kings of the world, against the Band of Nine and the Nine Penny Kings. After Ormond Baratheon, it's not in front of me right now, I think it's Ormond Baratheon, died by Meleys the Monstrous right at the offset of the War of the Nine Penny Kings, Gerold Hightower took over. So that's why he gets his name in here. I wanted to pepper in some older generals, right? And or commanders. And I think I did a pretty good job. I like my 16. I know there's going to be some omissions, but I did what I could. And then Maekar Targaryen, the Anvil himself, and then Argilac Durrandon. Before people were like, Argilac the Arrogant, all he did was lose. No, he actually, go watch my Argilac video. He was an amazing commander for a super long time. won many a war. He just got old, and we saw him losing against Harren the Black in his old age, and then eventually lose to Orys Baratheon in his old age. So this is like prime Argilac. Like he's low key. I don't think anyone's gonna give him the credit he deserves, but he's actually one of the better ones. And then of course his ancestor, Robert Baratheon himself. I'm pumped. I almost had Rhaegar in here, but I left him out just because Rhaegar's biggest thing is that he lost. But yeah, people do love the Rhaegar. But I got Robert in here, and it's gonna be hard to decide who the favorites are because I feel like this is a very stacked bracket. And it could go either way. I think Robb Stark might get a lot of love, but Stannis is going to get a lot of love. Robert Baratheon's probably the one who's going to get the most love. But he always used number advantages in things like that. He very rarely, besides the Battle of the Trident itself, which, of course, is the blueprint of this fight. So since he won that, I guess that makes him S tier. And I think Argilac deserves to be high up in there. Tywin, of course, Randyl Tarly, of course. And yeah, I honestly feel like half of this tournament is high tier. And there's some lower tier guys, and I think Aegon's not going to do very well without his dragon. Daemon Blackfyre, the best thing he did was lose too, but of course he was done dirty. He was done dirty in the Battle of the Red Grass Field. So yeah, I think this is pretty stacked, and it's pretty hard to call. So I will start off tomorrow, December 4th at 7 a.m. Central Time with Tywin versus Randyl. So, yeah, be ready for that. Vote as much as you can. Comment as much as you want. I will be busy, and just because I have a lot of fun doing the update videos, but they don't do very well. And that's fine. I don't just run this channel because it does very well, because it doesn't. But they particularly do not. And I'm going to be busy, so I'm going to make the decision, and I'm sorry if this bothers people, but I'm just going to make a video at the end. I will go over every match in that video. It'll be a very long one, but I'm just going to put out one video at the end and going over the entirety of it when it's done. Probably the day it ends, the next day or the day after that. I did schedule this where I know I have a day off when the tournament's over. So yeah, and the next day too. So there you guys go. This is the tournament. Let's go. This is the bracket. Let's look at it one more time. Tywin versus Randyl. Who do you have? You can tell me in the comments here of who you think is going to win, but keep in mind, voting will just be at the polls. If you vote here, it won't mean anything. Tywin versus Randyl. Then Aegor versus Criston Cole. Daemon the Young, or Daeron the Young Dragon versus Mance Rayder. Why do I keep saying Radar? Daemon Blackfyre versus Aegon Targaryen the First Conqueror. Robb the Young Wolf Stark versus Stannis Baratheon, Stannis Manus. I guess I have a nickname for all these guys. Cregan the Old Wolf Stark versus Roose Dracula Bolton. I haven't got one for Leech Lord. There you go. Gerold the Bull Hightower versus Maekar the Anvil Targaryen. Argilac the Arrogant Durrandon, and then Robert the I don't know, the very crappy king, the demon of the Trident himself, Baratheon. Yeah, who do you guys got? I'm pumped. I hope you guys enjoy this, and yeah, see you tomorrow morning for the first match, and yeah, peace.